Hey, good day everybody. Ali Tarafdar back with a brand new video. This is a very important video. As you guys are aware, a lot of people are actually rolling out these type of videos and they're telling you all this stuff about the new Ultra FICO model that's coming out. And so I want to take my part in giving you guys the best I possibly can in terms of information and give you actual example of how the update looks like, seeing that, I actually am in the business and I already got some clients that are starting to look at some of these extra additional information on the report. So instead of just telling you, what the updates will be, I will demonstrate to you a live example of what it will look like. Now, some of the things that you have to realize is this will definitely affect quite a lot of people, specifically those with a lower end FICO score, and of course, those with good financial responsibility and bad financial responsibilities. So with that being said, let's go over exactly who will be affected. Those who are heavily dependent on shortcuts and modeling reports to make it look ideal, when in fact it is not. For example, adding trade lines, adding authorized users, all these type of things that are trying to enhance their file by fictitious means and engineering. Those individuals will get affected. This is the cold hard truth. Everyone in the United States are looking to get affected. This also affects individuals who are within the Western Hemisphere, as well as those countries that are run and operated in terms of credit reporting by the three major credit reporting agencies. Well, of course, in other countries, they will have their independent logistics, independent, public platforms for banking reporting, et cetera, et cetera. Now, for those who are well financially balanced, it definitely will help. But for those who are not so financially balanced, what's going to happen is you're going to get hurt, most likely, right? Because you don't have the financial habits, you don't have the tools and resources to kind of sustain in a financially viable way to make the most out of your Ultra FICO, the new FICO model, the new credit reporting model, right? So let me give you a further example, right? Here are some of the key considerations for you. First and foremost, you have to keep at least, if not greater, than $400 in your bank account. They'll also look at money market accounts. They'll look at certain combination and amalgamation of accounts altogether in the banking industry about you. Now, a lot of you guys may be concerned with privacy. And you're going to say, well, Ali, how do I protect my privacy, et cetera, et cetera. So here's the good thing about this model is the fact that it's a one-off thing, right? It's just a fact of inquiring on you. So if you're applying for credit, if you're applying for, let's say, a financing or a loan, it's not an ongoing monitoring basis, thankfully, right? But on your perspective, you'll be able to log in and, of course, do your own checks to see where you stand and what you need to do. So that's a key consideration in terms of security and your safety, and of course, privacy. Now, the second thing is you can't overdraw on your accounts. If you have a bad habit and you're overdrawn and you're basically not financially sustainable in terms of that level, it'll affect you adversely, right? It's just a given. Now, you have to pay your bills on time, but you already know that this was already something that the existing FICO scoring model and the credit reporting model already considers. Now, if you do all this, potentially you'll see a 20+ point increase according to FICO, right? Now, individuals in the low 600s will benefit the most because one of two things. Number one, they don't have significant credit. But at the end of the day, if their banking is in order, and it's one of the bigger factors that they'll consider nowadays, they'll get a point score boost. But those who already have significant credit and they're well established, they're not going to see a lot of major changes, but it is definitely a key consideration regardless. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so these are the new changes. These are some of the things that will happen to the FICO model. What about me? What do I do now? All right. So if I may, as your guide and mentor, it's time that you actually amp up your credit enhancement effort, right? You have to get the mentor. This is the moment. You cannot wait. It's not an option anymore. And the reason I can confidently tell you this is because if you wait past January, and it's going to be a major rollout by the summertime of 2019. January, they're going to start early bird releases. And I already started seeing some clients that, for example, TransUnion is already starting to pull some data. And I'm going to show you an example of this. Unlike other individuals, I actually plan on showing you an actual live report, right? So one of the, another thing you have to keep, the key consideration is you either get with the program or you get swept, right? Because if you're still dependent on these shortcuts, if you're dependent on these CPNs and all these type of, things that are trying to engineer a file or credit enhance it, or you think you can just sweep your file with the 609 or just dispute whatever's on the system, good luck with that, because you cannot sweep your bank records. It just doesn't work. Every time they pull it, if they don't get evidence of a required FICO altogether Ultra FICO model when extending credit to you, they will ask you to unfreeze your check systems, for example, or unfreeze some of the other things, because that is a key consideration. And albeit that the industry is rolling out the FICO model, don't forget the institutions that are actually reporting credit or doing inquiries on you through legitimate, permissible purposes will require that the compliance standard of them actually inquiring on you complies with essentially all the models that require the ultra FICO to be considered accurate, which includes your banking information. So freezing these type of accounts and holding out on that information is definitely not going to help you. So you absolutely have to get with the program. And those who act and are serious will get the most benefits long term, especially before January, right? So you have to ask yourself this, seriously. And I've been telling you guys this on my channel for a very long time now. If these changes are happening and more institutions are gearing towards financial responsibility, what do you think is going to happen next? Right? What do you think is happening next? Because quite honestly, like if you look at the credit industry and the unsecured debt industry, there's a lot of defaults that happened. 2008, wiped out a lot of different institutions, especially boutique firms and private community credit unions, et cetera, and the mortgage companies. But long term, credit is such a tricky game, right? Like you can walk away with debt, people give it to collections, you can literally challenge it and not pay and just get away with it. But for how long, really? You think that the credit reporting industry, of course, they're very profitable, right? But at the end of the day, like the banking, the institutions that are extending credit to you, giving you loans and financing, how long do you think they're going to let you get away with it, right? And again, at the end of the day, it's like you have to look at what you got going on a personal level, where you want to be financially, how far off you see yourself. Because you can't just keep in this type of life standard and thinking that everything's going to be good, because that time will come. We're going to get older, right? We're really going to get older, and eventually what's going to happen is now you're going to have kids if you're married, and you're going to have to look after them. You have to teach them responsibility. After you're gone, who's going to take care of them? If the same habits are transitioned from yourself, especially those that are not financially reasonable, to your kids, you're going to have a very hard time sustaining with reality. So you have to take this consideration very seriously. It's not the time to think about it. You can't get sloppy now. It doesn't work like that. Because your kid, if he's out there and he's learning, financial education starts at home. Because that stuff is not taught in schools. You guys know this. If you guys were taught that in school, we wouldn't have this video, or let alone this channel. Everybody would be awesome, right? But even then, very few actually do take the steps to implement kids. They don't take the action. So consider that. So everybody's talking about this new ultra FICO model, right? But you actually want to see what it looks like. So let me give you a live example. This is from TransUnion, right? So if you look at TransUnion, they say here's a third-party supplemental information. And then you get all this additional data, right? You get, and by the way, this is actually pulled from check systems. And some of the companies like Alloy Financial will require, information like this. And it's going to become a normal circumstance for, like I said, by the summertime when the rollout happens, right? So you're going to see like, okay, hey, how much checking account closures happened in the past month, 2 months, 3 months, last year, 2 years, 3 years, okay? You're going to see average number of days between closures. This is a red indicator for those who are actually just popping from one bank to another without justification. And keep in mind, like, law enforcement agencies and stuff like that, especially for money laundering, especially in the high investment banking level. What's happening is, when you see certain information like that on an individual's credit, it shows instability and possible money laundering, right? So you can see where this is all going in terms of due diligence, especially those who are lending money to individuals and whether or not they're a high risk profile. So it's very important that you keep an eye on this. Okay, it's very important. So that was the first example. Let's go over the second type of example. This one's actually from CoreLogic. Again, TransUnion report, the same concept, number of evictions, supplemental credit information. This information, auto finance, how many of them in the past? All this information that you're looking at. Cash advance inquiries, 1. Cash advance inquiries in the last 7 years, 2. So it goes back as far as 7 years on this one. Some of them are actually go back as 9 years. This is information that's in addition to your banking, right? Miscellaneous financial services. So all these type of things that are being added. And this is a live report from one of my customers, by the way, guys. I'm not showing you some garbage that just, I pull off the internet. This is a live example. As you can see the date right here recently on the 12th, okay, of October 2008. You're going to see like this information is being rolled out right away with TransUnion. So, if you're not with the program, like I said, it's going to be a very difficult situation for a lot of people. So let me give you some suggestions on what you need to do. Because again, if you're serious about your credit, because you absolutely need it to survive, especially in the United States of America, unless you have billions in liquidity behind you, here are some of the things that you absolutely need to do. Now is not the time to negotiate, to think about it, or to get sloppy, right? As we discussed, you have to get a hold of your credit situation. It's a must. I would say personally do an audit on yourself. If you haven't, there's a book I have on Amazon. It's $4. In the first 6 chapters, I discuss how to mentally and financially prepare you to handle your finances the right way. There's a reason why I discussed that in the first 6 chapters. Because a lot of people, when they go into credit enhancement, they grab a book or they go and get those additional services if you're looking to do it yourself. But there's no system. There's no preparation for it. They just go in all guns blazing and they come out with their tails between their legs. Not a good situation to be in. I'd much rather give you the holistic overview. And I think it's important that we discuss on a personal level and a mental state and psychologically be prepared to handle the task ahead, which is to handle your personal finances and your credit, right? So that's available to you right below this video. I would highly encourage you to grab a copy. Make sure you sign up for my email updates. It doesn't cost you anything. Why? Because once you are in, you absolutely need the information, first of all, but I will be regularly sharing information with you in reference to the industry, what you need to do, how to handle your finances, what to do when it comes to certain things in your file in terms of your credit, in addition to some of the available programs out there that can potentially help you with cars, with mortgages, with raising capital, perhaps for your business, right? So there's a lot of different things that I think you would benefit from just by being part of that newsletter. And last but not least, make sure that you actually stay up to date with my channel. You got to subscribe, turn that bell icon on, because if you're looking to get regular updates, you're serious about your personal finances, your credit, then there's no better time to do it. But now, I would strongly recommend that, number one, if you haven't grabbed a copy of the book, it's on Amazon. You need a Kindle. You can download it. You can download the Kindle app for free on your phone, and you can start reading the book. Now, I'm not forcing you to do that. It's up to you, right? But it's definitely information that you need, first of all. And secondly, make sure you sign up for that email newsletter. All the links are actually below this video, so go ahead and look at that. And if you haven't subscribed, this is your first time on my channel, make sure you turn that subscription button and the bell icon on so that you get regular updates from my side, right? So with that said, I hope that the information I shared with you guys with evidence of how the reports will potentially look like, and this is just a sample, right, of what TransUnion is starting to roll out with some of the customers that I'm already serving. Potentially there's going to be a lot more information, and as it comes, I will definitely share it with you guys and give you some insights. But feel free to look through my channel. There's playlists for you. There's updates. There's new videos every time. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. This is your guide and mentor, Ali Tarafdar. See you soon. Bye for now.